Tum, to-tum, to-tum, to-tum. Na-na-nam, na-na-nam, na-na-nam. Previously on The Elder Scrolls Ukraine.
This one seems to be alive. What a lucky guy. At least death would have saved him from the dreams.
What? What? Video games are art or something.
Твоя цель здесь.
There are many secrets and mysteries hidden deep in the Chernobyl zone of alienation. One such mystery is the Wish Granter, the entity that supposedly can make any wish come true.
Иди ко мне.
The path into the heart of the zone takes us through the massive machinery graveyard the locals succinctly call the garbage.
People, this is the commander of the neutral squad. We've kicked the bandits out of the derelict machinery scrapyard, expecting counterattack.
Let's go help them. The middle-aged stalker named Bess, the commander of the local loners, gives us the rundown. A large group of bandits is advancing from the west. The stalkers decided to take them on here in this tactically defensible scrapyard. There are quite a few of them, but we do have a small legion of Slavs as backup.
Everybody take your stand. Let them come close.
Not a bad plan, Bess. The fight is actually pretty easy. Finding these Soviet vehicle dumps is something stalkers actually do in real life. It's a part of the adventure. The locations are often unmarked. The government didn't keep good records. The Slate article says the machinery dump seems to be dwindling in size. Scrap metal is valuable and the government is rumored to be selling it to China.
Anyone who can hear me? We've been attacked by a gang of bandits. We need help. Brothers, help us. We're in deep shit.
Yet another group of loners urgently needs our aid. The stalkers are holed up in the abandoned train station. They are led by Seri, a man of some authority among the loners in the garbage. That sentence felt weird to say out loud.
Great job, boys. We wiped them out. Everybody have some rest. And you, Stalker, come over here.
We have a chat with Seri, who tells us where to go next. This has to do with our search for Strelok. Beneath the Agroprom Research Institute, there is a vast network of underground tunnels. Inside one of the tunnels, there is a secret stash belonging to Strelok. It was discovered by a stalker appropriately named Mole.
The military are about to destroy Mole's group!
What Seri failed to tell us is that Agroprom is one of the strongholds of the Ukrainian military in the zone. The loners are fighting the Spetsnaz, who are about to wipe them out. I can't let that happen, not without getting to Strelok's stash first. The MP5 is ineffective against the military with their combat armor and helmets.
Thank you, friend. You saved my life.
We rescue Mole, who keeps referring to the soldiers as pigs. The game has no respect for the army whatsoever, reflecting Ukrainian attitudes at the time. Over the years, this will change. Oh yeah. Our first real assault rifle, the AK-74. It needs no introduction. One of the most common weapons in the zone, it's used by almost all factions. We'll be using the AK for a while as well, although not this specific version. There is an upgrade waiting for us in the Strelok's stash. Mole leads us to an access hatch hidden beneath some trees outside Agroprom. The military are supposed to initiate phase 2 of their assault, so we made it out just in time. The rest of the loners are dead. RIP. Let's explore the underground and do whatever the main story wants us to do. First of all, nice lighting. The tunnels beneath Agroprom are full of bandits. In general, the zone, especially the early locations, are absolutely swarming with these guys. Chernobyl is Skyrim from the future. Or the past. Stalker NPCs are well voiced and use a diverse array of combat barks. Each faction has different lines and accents reflecting a particular subculture. One of the bandits yells out a homophobic slur. But the gangs are not the only threat in the tunnels. These are bloodsuckers, the zone's vampires. Rare and dangerous humanoid mutants with optic camouflage. Bloodsuckers are fast and lethal, but they are the weakest when cloaked. After dealing with the remnants of the aeromobile team, we finally find what we were looking for, Strelok's secret hideout. Inside there is a message left to Strelok by one of his friends. Not sure how significant this discovery is. I suppose now we have a new name to search for. We also obtain Strelok's gun, a modified AK-74 with increased durability, rate of fire, as well as lowered recoil. It can take all the attachments the normal AK can. This will become important later, an upgrade all around. Do you see this strange effect at the edges of the screen? It's accompanied by an unsettling noise. This means we have entered a psi field. A powerful creature is nearby, the most dangerous one yet. Controllers are unique. They are highly intelligent humanoid mutants, capable of influencing the behavior of less developed creatures. The object of endless campfire stories, controllers can make it seem that you are surrounded by friends when you are about to be eaten by zombies, or it might seem that you are walking on a pathway, but actually you are about to fall off a cliff. Admittedly, while these abilities are part of the lore, none of this actually happens in-game. The creature kills by launching a psi attack. It does a ton of damage, ignores conventional defenses, and creates this weird zoom-in effect. It looks like a bug, which I'm pretty sure is intentional. You can protect yourself by breaking visual contact, but that doesn't always work. We kill the mutant with a grenade. The reason Sidorovich sent us to Agroprom was to recover the important research documents. Finding Strelok's stash was just our personal side objective. The papers are here, guarded by dozens of soldiers. Good thing we have that upgraded AK. On my way back to the garbage, I collect and equip several artifacts. Most artifacts are radioactive and will slowly kill you. To combat this, there is a different class of artifacts that protects the owner against rats. You have to equip these in a combination. The system is rudimentary and it gets further expanded upon in sequels and mods.
Attention everyone. This is Duty Outpost at the Garbage.
Duty Outpost at Garbage is a great Twitter handle. A fan favorite Stalker faction, Duty is a paramilitary group known for its discipline and a strict code. We'll learn more about their culture soon. I help the Stalkers fight off the mutant stampede.
Buzz off, Stalker. We don't let every loser go through.
I'm not just some loser. I have important documents from Agroprom you people might want to take a look at. Minutes later, we arrive at Rostock, an abandoned industrial facility and the central social hub of the game.
Free Stalkers, veterans and hunters, join duty. Protecting the world from the zone's evil is our common goal.
The Duty HQ is here, as well as the arena, several traders, many secret stashes for us to find, and most importantly, the bar.
The 100 bar is the place for you.
I said come in! Don't stand there! My information might well be of use to you, Stalker.
Why did I bother? How did I manage that?
The bar has a number of important characters, our private stash, and of course the barkeep himself.
Okay, the documents you brought from the Institute make some things a little clearer, but we're still missing the info we need to get a full picture.
He is going to be our main employer, replacing Sidorovich, who is stuck in his bunker at the cordon. The barkeep has numerous connections both in the zone and outside of it. We have a new assignment. To the east of the garbage, there is a place called the Dark Valley. Inside the valley, there is a secret lab designated X-18. It was supposedly set up after the Chernobyl disaster. Searching the lab might provide us with insight on how to overcome the brain scorcher device that is blocking all Stalker access into the heart of the zone, the abandoned city of Pripyat and the Chernobyl NPP itself. The barkeep sells higher quality items compared to Sid. For our accomplishments, we are rewarded with an iconic Stalker suit.
You can't go there!
I don't want to go there.
Protect the world from the zone. Join duty.
Duty members are the only group who refuse to trade the unique gifts of the zone with the outside world. The artifacts are passed on to scientists instead.
Stop! Outsiders may not enter.
This is the Duty HQ. It too is restricted. We are new in Rostock and the locals don't trust us yet. Note that the guard has a Russian Abakan rifle. AN-94 Abakan was designed in the late 80s as a potential replacement for the venerable AK-74 series. The weapon was featured in a bunch of games. The Russian soldiers in Metal Gear Solid 2 used that rifle as their main firearm. However, the gun was ultimately unable to unseat AK as the Slav totemic weapon. This dutier is equipped with OTS-14 Thunder, another forgotten post-Soviet rifle. We'll check it out later. Stalker assigns different weapon preferences to different subcultures in the zone. It's a tool of characterization.
Get out of here, Stalker.
Rude, but we do have to leave Rostock, although we'll be returning here many times. The shadow of Chernobyl was quite linear so far, but Rostock is where the game finally opens up. There are many potential paths for us to take. The westernmost exit leads us to so-called wild territory. If you were paying attention, you might have noticed that Stalker the video game takes place in a real country called Ukraine. It's true, hard to believe, but it is a real place. In the heart of the Ukrainian capital of Kiev, there is the Independence Square, or Maidan Nezalezhnosti. Over the centuries, it saw all kinds of important events. The army of Batu Khan, the first electric tram in the Russian Empire. The square used to host a memorial to Pyotr Stolypin, an important Russian reformer who was assassinated in Kiev. The last hope of peacefully reforming the backwards Russian state died with him. All kinds of things happened here. But for the purposes of our story, there are three specific events that are more important than anything else. The first is the 2004 Orange Revolution. Hundreds of thousands of protesters gathered in the square and the nearby streets, enduring cold weather. It was about voter fraud. This guy, candidate What's-His-Face, didn't play fair. The revolution succeeded. His pro-Western opponent became president. The realignment created a political shockwave. But across the Colorado, another society had arisen under a different flag. Ukraine has a much larger regional neighbor, a country called Russia. Historians believe it was named after a popular Counter-Strike strategy. Ukrainians and Russians were gaming together on the same server for many years until their relationship broke down into a rivalry. You know how it is with video game players. Russians were annoyed. See, without Ukrainians, there are not enough people to populate the matchmaker and, whatever, fuck this. This analogy is getting way too elaborate for its own good. 5 years after the Orange Revolution, another massive scale event took place on Maidan. 200,000 people came to Kyiv on October 2nd, 2009 in order to partake in Stalkerfest, a grand open-air festival about the game and the subculture it spawned. There was a light show, a costume contest, a concert with a number of bands participating. Attendees were given the opportunity to play a fresh build of the upcoming Stalker Call of Pripyat, at the time yet unreleased third game of the series. A lovely Web 1.0 website informs us that bringing real weapons is strictly forbidden. Stalkerfest became the third most crowded event in the history of independent Ukraine, behind the Orange Revolution and a certain other event that will change the country forever.
Wolfhound, we've got visitors. Some stalker is coming right at us. What do we do?
Here in the wild territory, we make our first contact with another one of Zone's factions, the Mercs.
Don't you know what to do with witnesses? Finish him and make no fuss.
This Wolfhound guy has a shitty microphone and poor OPSEC. The Mercenaries are private contractors and cutthroats, one of the more enigmatic organizations, or perhaps just underwritten. Supposedly, they are usually hired by powerful outside entities, like wealthy corporations, to retrieve artifacts and other unique objects from the zone. The Mercs usually prefer NATO weaponry, but these Vanguard guys are armed with scoped AKs. We pick one of them up and reattach a scope to an upgraded gun we borrowed from Strelok's stash.
Now you've done it, Wolfhound. The military chopper is coming to blow you to pieces.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
There goes goes your chopper. You're next, you political scumbags.
Political scumbag. The ecologists, the dudes currently being victimized by the mercs, are a friendly and helpful group, and working with them is important for progressing the story. So, sure, we'll help out the political scumbags.
That's it, you egghead moron. Either you give me the results or you leave this place in a body bag.
If you attack, I will destroy the information.
I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. What information? Skipping ahead, I can tell you that we will never learn why the mercs are attacking the ecologists, and honestly, I don't really care. We pick up the TRS-301 from one of the dead mercs. Now that's a great gun. In real life, it's called ZM-LR300. Its role in Stalker is to be the cultural ambassador of the legendary AR-15 series of rifles. The gun is likely to be superior to any Warsaw-packed weapon you find at this stage of the game, perhaps with the exception of Strelok's modified AK we've been extensively using, but it's only because you can easily enhance it with a scope for long-range combat. This little optional area is infested with anomalies. We jump from one piece of debris to the next until we eventually get to the prize. Very reminiscent of Half-Life 1. Makes me feel old. This is the prize, by the way. Another new gun, a Desert Eagle. Easily the most powerful pistol in the game, although with terrible recoil. Thanks to its use in film, the oversized hand cannon became well represented in pop culture, especially in the 90s and the 2000s, but very few real militaries ever made use of it.
Stalker, I'm begging you. We were returning from Yantar when the Merc shut down our helicopter.
Professor Kruglov is the only survivor of the Merc attack. He needs our protection. I agree to escort Kruglov back to Yantar, where the ecologist's main base is located. The Mercs launch a counterattack, but it's nothing me and Kruglov can't deal with. One of the bodies is Wolfhound's. He is somewhat hard to distinguish from the rest of the group. The last obstacle to overcome. And on the other side, there is Yantar. A dangerous location with a strange history. Used to be a lake here, eventually dried up, leaving in its place a shallow swamp. A factory complex was constructed.
We are safe, finally. Thank you for your help.
After the second disaster, or perhaps even earlier, a secret underground facility was built beneath the factory.
It's highly important.
Don't give a shit. I'm not going anywhere alone.
I'm begging you, please do it. We all depend on it.
Our stay here will be short, but we'll be back once we sort out our business in Rostock.
Attention, stalkers. We need volunteers for dangerous but well-paid missions.
The next mission is in the Dark Valley, a former agricultural research area now infested with anomalies and gopniks. It's accessible via the garbage.
Talk, you son of a bitch, or watch my bullet blow your brains out.
The first thing we'll see upon entering the valley is a duty soldier interrogating a bandit.
At duty, we always pay our debts.
He needs our help rescuing a captive friend. This old Soviet bus station looks like an excellent place to set up an ambush. Op success. In the northern part of the Dark Valley, there is this huge construction yard or an industrial facility of some kind that serves as Bandit headquarters, possibly the biggest concentration of Gopniks outside eastern Hovrino. Shooting bandits with an AR is like returning to a low-level area in an RPG and dominating the tutorial creatures with your high-level equipment. The industrial facility is quite expansive. It's obvious that the area was designed first, based on a real-life location, and only then the developers figured out what to do with it gameplay-wise. This approach to design gives the world of Stalker a sense of authenticity. The locations weren't designed to impress you, it's not about you. Bandits certainly have an impressive vodka stockpile. In Ukraine and in Russia there is this strange and persistent belief that vodka cures radiation.
Over here, help!
We rescue another dutier from the bandit prison. The construction of the X-18 lab began in 1981, back when the USSR still existed. After the second disaster of 1986, the lab was repurposed to study mutations and for psychic research. This is the entrance. The barkeep sent us here. The outer part of the lab is currently occupied by bandits, but that's not really a problem for us. Not anymore. Back when the game was originally released, X-18 Lab was seen as the pinnacle of spooky first-person level design. Several previously unseen threats are waiting for us in the lab. This thing is called a snork. Snorks are mutated humans, soldiers or stalkers, still wearing tattered remains of their uniforms, as well as a gas mask. On some occasions, snorks have also been seen talking to each other, although the language they use is barely recognizable. Levitating items are a work of yet another previously unseen creature, a poltergeist. The trick to fighting poltergeists is realizing that they're actually not scary at all, and are in fact pretty harmless. Invisible, but not incorporeal, poltergeists are easily dispatched with any firearm, and they look goddamn ridiculous. What the hell kind of experiments were they doing here? This is a pseudo-giant, a conglomeration of several humans fused together. The beast is capable of creating psionic shockwaves that damage all living things in the vicinity. A pseudo-giant is possibly the most dangerous type of mutant in the zone, more dangerous than even the controllers. Thankfully, they're quite rare. This particular specimen is not that threatening because it can't leave the room it's trapped in. Wonder what it eats. Eventually, we reach the lowest level of the lab, but there is one last challenge for us to overcome. A pyrogeist. It's like a poltergeist, except actually dangerous. Pyrogeists don't have a goofy-looking material form. The entity kills by creating fire-spewing burner anomalies next to its victims. And these are the papers we need to recover for the barkeep. Pyrogeists are vulnerable to small arms fire, but they can take a lot of punishment. Eventually, it goes down. The screen shakes and we lose consciousness. Cutscene time. What do you guys think all of this means? I watched a Netflix doc about dreams, and I know that they're basically just a bunch of memories glued together, but did the game's designers know that? Oh shit, I should use this sequence to segue into all the political crap I wrote. Ukraine wasn't the only nation that was changing. In the 90s and the 2000s, the Russian Federation was in a bad place. Well, even more so than usual, that is. Poverty, crime, war, mass expulsion of talent. In order to stabilize the country, as well as secure their own grip on power, President Vlad Putin and his cronies pulled what can be described as a Russian take on Richard Nixon's Southern strategy. Well, kind of. Not quite. It was a little more complex, a proprietary formula mixing together the Soviet aesthetic, ancestor veneration with extreme homophobia. And it's the glue that to this day holds the nation in one piece. While Putin's version of the strategy succeeded in uniting the tribes of Russophonic Eurasia, the ideology failed to appeal to many people in the now sovereign republics of the former USSR. The common Soviet Slavic culture was going away, replaced with something else. And Ukrainians were changing too, rediscovering their heritage. The Ukrainian language, once spoken almost exclusively in the westernmost regions of the country, was being readopted. The independence brought increased awareness of the crimes committed against them by their former imperial masters. Nevertheless, Euromaidan was a divisive revolution. The protests were spontaneous, organized via Facebook. The young people were willing to take risks. The formerly ousted Viktor Yanukovych was back. He was the president, but he wasn't scary. Yanukovych wasn't even a real dictator, just a bitch-ass kleptocrat. They defeated him before. They could do it again. But this time, he wasn't willing to go down without a fight. The revolution was followed by Russian annexation of the Crimean Peninsula and the Donbass War. Stand up. There you go. I heard them say we reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go.
Teams 1 and 2, check the first floor. Team 3, the main hall. Teams 4 and 5, second floor.
Oh shit, we're about to get Spetsnazed. Time to vacate the premises. The soldiers are heavily armored. Strelok's AK served us well so far, but we'll have to upgrade pretty soon if we are to remain competitive.
032! Drop your men onto the roof! Do you read me?
As we make our way out of the lab, our old acquaintance Sid makes a surprise call.
March 1. The Bandit base was attacked by the military. The entrance to the garbage is blocked, but there is an old road to the south.
We can't leave the way we came. That's helpful to know. Looks like the soldiers mopped up the bandits and whoever else was occupying the area. This place became even more dangerous. There is no point in staying. Our job is to deliver the research data we obtained back to the barkeep in Rostock. Look, is that a loner? Didn't expect to see any of them here.
Come over here and let's talk business.
The dude claims he has a Gauss rifle for sale. What, like in Fallout 2? It's suspiciously cheap, however.
Listen to me carefully, sucker. Have you heard the story of Robin Hood? Well, your money went to feed the poor.
You're still alive.
Forget about it. Try sticking your nose here again, and you'll be crawling back to your mommy.
Piss off while you're still alive.
No. Not all stalkers are good people. Not all loners are your friends. They obviously didn't have a Gauss rifle, but we do get a unique silenced MP5 from one of the bodies. The man we killed, the previous owner of the weapon, is a stalker called Vampire, or Upir in Russian. He is known for being the only survivor of numerous failed expeditions. Bad things just seem to be randomly happening to people around him, but Upir always makes it out okay. Vampire is based on a character from the original Strugatsky novel. Vulture had a similar reputation. His comrades would often get into trouble, but Vulture would always miraculously survive. He might have been intentionally leading fellow stalkers into anomalies, a good way of studying what the mysterious energy phenomena actually does. So that was the Dark Valley, a miserable place. Glad we're leaving it behind. This area looks familiar. It's the cordon. We're back. We should visit our old buddy Sid.
Hey, Marked One. It's great to see you're alive and even had time to stop by.
Roaming through the cordon with advanced equipment feels like, like a power fantasy. None of the local threats are of any danger to us anymore. Well, maybe the military, if they ever manage to recover their outpost.
Get your ass over here. We need to talk.
Back in the Rookie village, the local commander needs our help again. This time it's the Mercenaries. They want to take over the village for themselves and force the loners out. I'm not gonna let that happen. I have a soft spot for this place. We'll just have to wait. The mercs will be here soon. Sounds like the military base did get repopulated. I guess it's on. We battle the mercs, not a particularly hard fight. The Rookie village is defended against yet another attack. I loot the bodies. At this point, we help the loners defeat the bandits, the soldiers, and the mercs. We check on Sid. He has a bunch of tasks we can do, but I choose to ignore them. We are needed elsewhere. His inventory improved quite significantly. The business seems to be going well.
Well, good hunting, Stalker.
We need to head back to Rostock. Still have a mission to complete.
А то у пацанов у всех в натуре есть, а я один вроде лох получаюсь.
A stalker tells a story of a Russian gangster purchasing an artifact so he can wear it on a neck chain. Another good opportunity for a segue. Back in 1996, Andrei Prokhorov had a PhD, but no career possibilities. I mean, he obviously didn't. It was the 90s. Nobody had much of a future. The PhD haver was interviewed for a job by 16-year-old Grigorovich. Back then, the development team team was based in his two-room Soviet apartment. Throughout the early 2000s, as GSC grew larger on the sales of Cossack games, Prokhorov and others began to resent how the company's earnings all seemed to go to Grigorovich. The real-time strategy series Cossacks was an international hit. Sergei many times stated that the games made the company more than $100 million, and yet the wages of the employees remained pathetically low. The boss showed little solidarity with the people working beneath him. In 2005, GSC Game World had 140 employees, and yet, according to Prokhorov, there were only 4 cars in the company's parking lot. 3 of them belonged to Grigorovich: a BMW, a Porsche, and a Ferrari with plates that read Stalker. The 4th car was an old pile of bolts owned by one of the GSC's programmers. This behavior was somewhat typical of post-Soviet nouveau riche class of people. The new Russians or the new Ukrainians, the people who obtained their fortunes in the chaos of economic liberalization. None of them grew up rich. None of their parents were rich. None of their grandparents were rich. They never learned how to display wealth without looking like monstrous pieces of shit. Prokhorov and 2 of the company's lead programmers left GSC. They started a game development company of their own, with the intention to treat their employees better than Grigorovich did. The company's first game was an atmospheric linear FPS, Metro 2033, and not unlike Stalker, it was based on a literary source, the novel of the same name by Russian author Dmitry Glukhovsky. A work of modern fiction, it was written long after the Soviet collapse. I remember someone describing Metro as Russian Half-Life, but in the case of that series, the label kind of made sense. At least the game took place in Moscow. The first release was widely criticized for being janky, but then 4A Games would go on to produce 2 AAA sequels. These were well received and sold good numbers. In August 2014, the studio moved to the tiny European island nation of Malta in the Mediterranean. Prokhorov made a statement. "Dear Motherland," he wrote, "this morning we're leaving you for some time, not because we don't love you, but because we have to. Otherwise 4A Games will cease to exist. It's really hard to get investors while we are at war with the shitter Putin. Glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes, death to enemies." The brain drain remains one of the existential problems of Ukraine as a society. For years, the nation was suffering from a quiet depopulation crisis. In a UN study, the top 10 countries ranked by their projected population decline over the next 30 years are all in post-Soviet Eastern Europe, an area characterized by low birth rates, few immigrants, and large numbers of departing citizens. People are fleeing in great numbers. No solution to the problem is currently in sight. Ukraine could lose nearly 1/5 of its population by 2050.